All right, so part of the reason for sitting tall is to take this sort of dignified position that's really your body communicating with the mind. I'm alert here, I'm awake, right? And you also want to see if you can relax. Drop your shoulders a little, see if your jaw can be a little loose. So it's a combination of alert but relaxed. And then if you are comfortable to do so, I like to close the eyes and invite you to do so because it helps limit all the stimulation that comes in through the eyes. If you find, though, that when you close your eyes, there's more stimulation, then another equally fine alternative is just to find a place 3 or 4 feet out in front of you on the ground and let your focus really kind of center in a particular spot with a diffuse gaze. So whichever of those works for you is fine. We're just beginning to turn our awareness to a more internal state. And it's always useful just to kind of take stock of what's here right now. So just noticing for yourself. What's going on internally right now? And you don't have to judge it. You don't have to change it. You're just noticing. It's kind of being a bit of a kind detective. And then taking some of your attention now to really feel your connection to the earth. So you might, for example, really feel your feet on the ground. Just getting a sense of whether your weight is more toward the heels or the balls of the feet. Whether you tend to disperse the weight toward the outsides or the insides of the feet. And you might even see if you can sense the solidness of the floor or the ground beneath you. Perhaps you can even feel each one of your toes. So you're really just sensing into the feet, noticing how they feel, noticing the support beneath them, and maybe even feeling some support from your shoes if you're wearing shoes, or the texture of your socks if you're wearing socks. So keeping some attention then on your connection to the ground, you might also move your attention gradually up your legs, through the knees, to the upper legs, all the way to the sit bones. And just take a moment to feel the pressure on your sit bones, on your hips, your upper legs, your buttocks. You might sense the softness of the chair, the couch, a cushion, whatever it is that's beneath you. And you might just notice how your bones are really helping to hold you now. And the soft tissue can kind of relax, spreading out on your seat. And just like with the feet, feeling into the support that's beneath your hips, your sit bones, your legs. And then if you like, gently begin to bring your attention on up through the torso, through the long spine, on up the back to the base of the skull, getting a sense even of the skull protecting the head, the brain, and perhaps getting a sense of your collarbones, your shoulders, the long bones of your arms. Just noticing this frame the body has to hold you. And then perhaps even noticing the frame of the ribs. Feeling the chest bone and the ribs, really protecting precious organs. The heart, the lungs, all that we have to metabolize and create energy. And maybe just beginning to notice the breath moving into the body, right into the lungs, perhaps even getting a sense of the expansion of the ribs on the in-breath and the release on the out-breath. And you don't have to force anything here. You don't have to make yourself breathe any particular way. You're just watching the breath move into the center of the body. Feeling how the breath expands in all directions in the center of the body. You might feel the ribs move out to the sides on the in-breath and retract a bit on the out-breath. If you're leaning against something gently, you might feel the pressure of your back expanding on the in-breath and releasing on the out-breath. You might even get a sense of the front of the torso expanding as well, making room for the precious breath on each inhale. And sometimes people feel the breath even deeper into the belly as the lungs drop down, fully inhaling. The belly pushes out a little. And on the exhale, it draws a little toward the spine. And again, you don't have to make this happen. You're just watching to see what does happen. And then just finding the place where the breath is most obvious to you. It might be the chest or the ribs, the back or the belly. It doesn't matter where. And see if you can begin to notice a little pause at the top of the in-breath. When the breath reverses direction to become an out-breath. And maybe you can even find the pause at the bottom of the breath, at the end of the exhale, a stillness before the breath returns again. And if you're interested or curious about that stillness, you might just see if you can find it on each breath. That deep centeredness that each of us has. Just practicing touching into it. And whenever you find that your mind has wandered off, or if you recognize that you're wrapped up in a thought, just see if you can notice that. And then gently bring yourself back to all four parts of the breath, where it enters the body and pauses, exits the body, and then stillness. this sort of grounded stillness. You might think about a river gently, gently flowing. And thoughts or feelings are like leaves in the river. And you're seated calmly on the bank, just watching them go by when they come. Feeling the grounding and finding the silence. And perhaps you even notice a tone of peace, a touch of kindness. Or a sense of being held. Whatever it is for you, just taking a few moments to really rest in this peace. And then, if you wish to add sound, on the next exhale, you might also let yourself sigh whenever your own exhale comes. Just audibly in your own space, letting go a little bit more into the pause at the end of the breath. And taking a moment to notice what it's like to be in whatever place you're in. And maybe even just thanking yourself for exploring here. And on the next breath or one after that, whenever you're feeling most ready, you can just give yourself a deep breath, fully releasing and opening your eyes, expanding your gaze. And if your body's asking for any particular kind of a stretch, feel free to gently give that to yourself, whatever it might be. And then let's rejoin each other on the screen here.